This is Taste Life Nutrition Radio and podcast streaming live on KUHSdenver.com, where we're always bringing on some of my favorite people and having a really good time while we're doing it. And people who are here to give and to love and to serve, all the things that that I think life should be about, right? And so we have Saril Vasquez on with us, who is going to talk to us about regrowing hair. It's so funny because when I was doing the promo show earlier, my cousin jumped on. She's like, "You keep talking about all of these things that I'm struggling with." So it's really great timing for her. So, Saril, thanks so much for being here. I'm glad that you are joining us today. I've been looking forward to this for weeks, months, maybe.
Me too.
Yeah.
Months. Always so excited to share the microphone with people that have similar passions, and we share several.
Yes.
So I'm so about that.
Awesome, cool. Well, it's gonna be a fun talk for sure. But as always, we start the show with gratitude, because gratitude can change the world. I fully believe that. I think it's super important in everything that we're doing. I love this time of year. Actually, that's going to be my gratitude. So I'm going to let you share what you're grateful for first, and then I'll share what I'm grateful for.
Oh, wow. Okay, on the spot. Well, luckily I said my prayers this morning. I am just so grateful for the loving family that I have, that I still have my mom and dad on this planet with me, and my loving husband, and my business, and all the women I've been able to help and just see through transformation, and when they were hopeless. And I was praying about that today, every single one of them, by name. I was just so thankful, and I was praying to God just to help them. And so that's what I'm grateful for.
I love that. And, you know, it's so funny because that's really right along the lines of what I was going to say. So I know. But, you know, this time of year, you know, we've got the long days and the warm weather. And, you know, we all know, well, maybe we don't all know, but we all should know that going outside in the morning before 10 a.m. is so great for the circadian rhythm and for grounding and being mindful. And so that's when I like to go outside, and my husband goes outside, and sometimes we're together and sometimes we're apart, you know, but we're both sitting there reading our Bible and doing some prayer time. And sometimes we can come together if we have the time and, you know, have a little conversation about what we're talking about. And so that was what I was going to say I'm super grateful for is for one, this time of year. If you've listened at all, I'm such a summer girl. I love the sun. And just being warm and being in it and having my feet on the ground and, you know, and reading, you know, what God's trying to tell me, because I'm only praying that I'm hearing what he's trying to tell me, you know. But it's such a good thing. And it just, I look forward to this time of year, however long it lasts, all year long, right? I just love to be outside in God's creation, and it's so beautiful. So that's definitely what I'm grateful for.
Right now, you look like your skin looks so glowy and tan. Like, I'm like, the first thing I noticed was that. It's kind of a fun thing. I do get super tan. I do have the ability to burn, but I'll tell you what I do. It's sort of as I've come into my own and learning what I need as far as my body and the sun, you know, because we still have to respect the sun, right? I can still get burned. But as soon as we start to have these days where the sun is warm, even if it's a little cool outside, that's what gets me outside to meditate. So I am in the sun getting kind of this base layer for 5 to 10 or 15 minutes, you know, as often as I possibly can, so I don't burn. And so now I can be out in the sun for hours. You know, we did that over the 4th of July, and I don't have to worry about it. Now I'm aware of it, and so I went and I put a hat on, right? And so I covered my face because I didn't want to get too much on my face. But it's so important to know your limit, but make sure that you're doing it. We got to get in the sun. People have become so afraid of the sun, and it's making us sick to not have the sun. Oh, absolutely. Vitamin D is critical,
yeah.
And the sun involved in how you're able to produce vitamin D. So it's people definitely underrated, and I think it's been demonized, so to speak.
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
because that toxic in the sun is going to give you cancer. It's like, well, what do you do? We spend so much time indoors, and we're literally just killing ourselves breathing in this toxic air all day long, especially if we have newer homes that were built for conservation in mind. Like if it was built newly, then it more often than not is going to preference energy conservation over your health, and which means you have not enough air from the outside coming in, and with that lack of exchange, then you have more toxic air in the home. And so we're breathing that in all day long, and no wonder so many of us got so sick in 2020. We spent so much time indoors.
It's so true, and I did not. By the way, I was out as much as I could be, even if it was in my backyard, but I was out and about for sure. You know, those are the things that I don't like to be handed a bucket of fear, which is kind of what we were handed. So, but you're so right on with our homes. You know, it's this double-edged sword because the older homes have the potential of being high in mold. The newer homes have the potential of all of these other, you know, off-gassing things and carpets and, you know, non-circulating air. You know, let's just open our windows. Open the windows, let the sun get in, go outside, walk in the grass. You know, these are the basic, really inexpensive foundational things that our bodies need to function. Literally, walking on the earth is something that we need to function, and we're learning more and more about that, but I think it's super key to everything that we do.
Yeah, we don't realize we're electrical beings. That's why they're able to do electrocardiograms on our heart.
Yep.
There's electricity in the body, and so we go outside barefoot, we're grounding. Like, we are affecting the electrons in our body in a positive way. And so yeah, just being indoors with all these synthetic materials that are disintegrating into dust. We think dust isn't a big deal, but if you think about it, it's not organic dust from the earth. It's polyester and just like all these different types of chemicals that are disintegrating into dust that we're breathing in, because we're not going to pee out dust. We are recycling machines. We're breathing that in and we're recycling it into organic matter to put it back into the earth. And so we take a hit. Our liver takes a hit, our kidneys take a hit every time they get wear and tear on them from processing these chemicals. And so we have socks over a period of time that gradually get a hole in them. We know we didn't tear a hole in it. It gradually happened over time. That became dust. And so we kind of don't even understand how it can happen, but we shed 500 skin cells a day. And how many of us have multiple humans in the home, plus pets? Like, you know, we're shedding all of that. And so we're breathing it in, and it's causing a hit on our immune system. When I first started working from home full time, I had an episode where my hair started drastically getting worse, and I couldn't make sense of it. I was like, I thought I figured this out, this hair loss thing already. I was like, what's going on? And I realized it was the dust in my home really affecting my immune system. And even the pillows and the duvet that had feathers inside of them, that eventually disintegrated into dust. I was just like I was washing the pillow covers, and I was patting them and fluffing them as I was getting the new washed cover on, and a bunch of dust just flew in my face. And the next couple washes, I had a dramatic amount of hair fall, and it was a hit to my immune system, just breathing in all that toxicity. Like, those feathers are sprayed in chemicals. They're there for years. Like, it was the immune system. It'll do this funny thing where it's like, gosh, you just put a whole plethora of chemicals in us. What are we gonna do? Like, oh, I know. Like, let's shed a bunch of hair so we can get rid of heavy metals and create new hairs so we can pull more heavy metals out of the blood and into that hair. And it's a little bit of a secondary mechanism of detoxification for Saril. She has enough hair. Like, let's do it.
That's right. Such a fascinating. All of these things, the way that you're putting it is really such a amazing way of explaining it and putting it out there for anybody to understand. I love the way that you put that. Thank you for that. It's so true.
Yeah, and so for your listeners that don't know, I'm a multi-certified functional medicine practitioner that specializes in reversing hair loss naturally, using diet, using medical grade supplements, using lifestyle practices. And so that is one of the things I think that is not spoken about enough in this hair loss industry. Everyone's always looking for the next shampoo or the next supplement or what's the expensive oil I need to put on my head, and they're not thinking about, well, why is the hair falling out in the first place? Is it just genetics? Is it just my hormones? And it's not.
Right. Well, it's such an important thing to think of anytime we have symptoms, right? Hair falling out is a symptom, right? A runny nose is a symptom. A pain in your hip is a symptom. Heartburn is a symptom, right? Anxiety is a symptom. And so all of these things, instead, what we should be doing and asking ourselves is, why is this happening in the first place? And never stop asking why, right? Because there's a reason for it. We just have to dig a little bit. We may not know how to, but that's why we find people who know how to and help us understand and learn. But we, instead of putting the chemicals on our hair, for regrowth and doing all these toxic things and taking the supplements, or just forgetting about it and moving on and going, oh, well, I'm losing my hair, and crying about it, but then I don't know what to do about it, so we don't. There's so many factors, and it's the body talking to us. And, is it thyroid? Is it, detoxification, right? So yes, always ask why. So keep going, dig into your story.
No, I will, before I even get into that,
yeah,
I love talking about, because actually I wrote a workbook on that, and we're giving it to your audience for free.
Good. Awesome. Yeah.
So I'm sure you're going to have the link for the book and notes.
Yep.
But there are trackers in there for you to start kind of pinpointing things, like what are these random symptoms that you're feeling, because you may not even be aware of them until you see it on a piece of paper. It's something you get to mark off, like, actually, I do get this nerve tingling sensation on my arm sometimes. Oh, someone else gets a swollen foot. Like, you start kind of marking off, like, yeah, I get that, and the frequency of it. And then you start putting together just a daily tracker over a couple of days, as far as like what you're eating, how much water you're drinking, how much you're sleeping, what are these symptoms, what are your bowel habits, and what's going on with your hair. And you will start finding patterns. And that's what the book is all about. It has the trackers, and it explains kind of like what you're looking for and how to learn to listen to your body. It's called Becoming a Volcanic, and a volcanic is a master of your body mechanics to reveal your inner bell. And so when I have my clients do that, like, we'll see them notice every time, I'll tell you a story, every time one of my clients would wake up in the morning, she would have a racing heart, and she thought it was just anxiety driven, because she's thinking about everything that she has to do with the kids and this and that. And then I realized when she went away on vacation, she wouldn't get that racing heart upon waking up, and she also wasn't eating as well either. So she's eating better at her home, but she's having more symptoms. And so we were able to figure that out by tracking all of these things, just a couple days a week, just kind of bringing awareness, understanding what these safe days look like. The days where you're barely having symptoms, what did you do? So we saw she was spending a lot more time outdoors in the days that she was having less symptoms. And so, and finally, they went on vacation twice, and every time they came back, her son would break out in eczema, and the racing heart would come back. And then they realized, my goodness, there's still mold in the house, there's still allergens, and then they're realizing that it's also mice that are in the attic that are, there are droppings in there, and that's being circulated, and it's getting them sick. And so they're in the process of getting their house to be a safe place for them to heal, but it's so difficult to be able to get momentum on your healing when you're chronically exposing yourself to more and more toxins. Like, everyone's always thinking, you gotta detox, I gotta detox, but what are you detoxing from? Like, be aware of the daily choices you are making that are exposing you to these quote-unquote allergens that are, kind of redoing the damage sometimes quicker than you're trying to undo it. You could take all the supplements of the world, but if you're redoing the damage quicker than you're undoing it, then you're not going to get any momentum.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I talk about a lot with my clients and patients, because, they get really frustrated sometimes with the amount of money that they have to spend. I'm like,
we need to make sure that you're in a place where you are actually getting rid of the stuff that we're trying to get rid of instead of holding on to it and recirculating it and making the body angry. You know, this is a process and an understanding and a learning of the body and an undoing of years and years of what has been doing, right? And so sometimes it can take a little longer than we might want, and sometimes it goes pretty deep. And so, you know, you are a specialist in how to regrow hair, but it still comes from all the things that create symptoms in different people. So it's the hair loss, it's the different conditions and diseases and symptoms and things that we have. They may present in different manners, but no matter what the symptom is, we got to start asking the questions why. And are we detoxifying what's in our home? And what are our thoughts? And are we moving enough? Are we moving too much, right? All of these things that are so important to everything that we do in life, and creating that optimal body and optimal life to the best of our ability, right? Nobody's perfect, but the best that we can.
My husband just did some testing. He was born and raised in Europe, where he grew up on fermented food, and he spent a lot of time outside. He's 33, comes to America, gets diverticulitis. Yeah. And I told him, I was like, babe, this is not like Europe. The food here is poisonous. And he's just having this culinary explosion in his mouth, just eating all the things, the hot dog, the burger, the pizza, like all these American type of things. And so we did some testing on him, and we ended up seeing that he had mold toxicity.
Oh, no.
So we found mold in the attic, and that he had leaky gut. And he also had a nickel.
Yeah.
So we're just like, where's that coming from? Like, is it from his exposure at work? Or maybe we haven't done enough getting out silverware that has nickel in it. And so recently we bought a new bed, okay, and I didn't even realize the bed was made from nickel. And so we put the bed together, and then I see a sticker on it that says, this bed is made with nickel in the state of California, da 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 da. And I'm sleeping in the bed. I had 0 problems in my bedroom, like 0, until we put that bed in there. So then it was like, all of a sudden, I'm lying down in bed, and my voice is starting to get raspy, and like I'm starting to feel some changes in my sinuses, and I'm getting nerve tingling in my arms, and I'm just like, something in this room is poisoning me, because this is not around a meal. This is something new that was introduced in the room, and now I'm unable to heal in here. And so people often just don't think that it could be that, because they think like, oh, well, if that's the case, then I would already be dead, and then you have to be afraid of everything, and they just kind of take it to this extreme that it doesn't have to go, instead of just being aware of the information that is now coming to light, that there are just these daily toxicants. And so when I help people in my practice that are looking to reverse their hair loss naturally, we do a toxicity tracker where we pinpoint like all the different things that could be an exposure to them. And then they have a plan over a period of 6 months or a year to start changing the score, realizing what are the different things that they may have to change, and then giving themselves a reasonable amount of time to make those changes. It doesn't have to be all at once, and it becomes more manageable, more bite-sized, but they start feeling better because they have just a lot less exposures. And so when we factor that in, which is critical and not talked about enough, which is I think why we were talking about it so much.
Yeah, exactly.
But also the diet, which is key as well. And I think way too many people are eating too many grams of sugar in a day. And they're thinking because it's fruit, because of this, it's like, okay, it's no. Like, you want to stay below 20 to 25 grams of sugar in a day if you're trying to be in an anti-inflammatory state, and you need to create a space for healing. After that, if you want to try to push it a couple days, 1 day out of the week, 2, I don't know, whatever, depending on how your body reacts, I'm not going to be mad at it, but that's what healthy people do, because they're resilient. If you're not healthy, you have to earn that, right? You have to get you to that place where your body can sustain that kind of insult, because that is an insult to the body, right? It's inflammatory. So diet is huge, and then the right medical grade supplements that really focus on repairing the damage, because even scar tissue can be broken down. In my practice, as how I help people, like I specialize in that. I love to show people a picture of what I used to look like, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how I looked like at my worst in 2020 when we were
That's
all
amazing.
sitting in our houses, and
Yeah.
I even had scarring at the top of my head as well. So just a lot of visibility of the scalp, and my self-esteem, you know, was down the toilet because I had just broken up with my ex that I thought I was gonna marry because he cheated on me with a girl that was 10 years younger than me. Okay, I was 33, she was 23. He was 38, so I don't know what the hell he was thinking. They both.
He wasn't. Not with his brain, anyway.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. And so I was just like, man, like I break up with him, and then 6 months later I go age this way. It's almost like he was right, and you know, and he dodged the bullet because I went to age like this in 6 months. So I said to myself, this cannot be my story. I will not allow this to be my story, and I have to go fix this. If no one else can fix it, I'm gonna fix it myself. And so I was in the medical field. I had a career in the medical field. I was working for 10 years in account management, helping people get the cure for Hep C or get medication for HIV. They were very expensive medications, but I was working with doctors' offices, finding those patients, getting them help. And so I developed relationships with gastroenterologists and also dermatologists and different specialties. And so they were my friends. And I was just like, hey, you guys, like I'm having this hair loss issue. It's been going on for some years. Can you help me? Like, what can we do? And they literally said, there's nothing we can do but slow it down. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Like, that was it. I had a binder literally probably 3 inches thick with all of my exams, my labs, in you know, those the protectors, like the sheet protectors, with a table of contents in the beginning, and I highlighted all the lab values that were off just to make their job easier, and I would still get the eye rolling of kind of like, oh gosh, like she's one of those, and like you're fine, everything's fine, normal. And I'm like, you guys, I don't feel normal, like this doesn't make any sense, like I don't understand why this is happening, but this isn't normal. So they were not able to help me. They did give me spironolactone, which did work a little bit for some time, but I got horrible side effects.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
halitosis. It was so bad I couldn't do my job. People didn't want to talk to me.
Oh.
My breath was kicking like that, and my period started being irregular. Not worth it, right? Because like I want to break. And then the doctor's telling me this is, oh no, that there's no way spironolactone could have done that. I'm like, lady, there's no other change in my life.
Yeah.
It's a DHT blocker. Of course, it's going to have an effect on my hormones.
Well, yeah. Hello. So can we back up just a little bit, because there's so much in there that you just said that I want to try to unpack a little bit, and I have a couple of questions. So first off, you have a crazy man who leaves, or you dump him because he's a crazy man. Trauma, right? So do you assume that this is maybe not trauma induced necessarily, or maybe it is, or the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing?
Ironically enough, the straw that broke the camel's back was getting on a raw vegan diet.
Oh no. Oh no.
I binging on fruit.
Wow.
Too much sugar.
Yeah.
That's this. That was
Okay.
That was.
Okay.
And yeah, and so that, I mean, yes, there was trauma, but around the time that I broke up with him, I had immersed myself into personal development.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of learning some skills to counteract that, right? I'm not as involved in that as much as I was before, but during the time it was the perfect thing for me because I had met a whole new group of friends and my life was fabulous without him, and I was hurt, but I was excited at the same time.
Yeah.
And my confidence. So the trauma thing, yes, it was painful, but I think it was definitely, I saw what happened when I just started eating raw food all the time. It just, the scarring spread like wildfire. There was just the progressive thinning got out of control. My hair was not that bad until I started eating so many grams of sugar in one day.
Yeah.
And it was because I had candida overgrowth, I had the mold exposure, I had estrogen dominance and androgen dominance.
Yeah.
I had a lot of things going on, you know, within the time that I was dealing with this issue to that extent. And leaky gut, just all these different things. That H. pylori was another thing that I was dealing with, right? So those, when your immune system gets tired because you have all these co-infections, and then you keep adding fuel to the fire, having that much sugar in a day, well, you start getting those infections to be more severe, because now the candida growth is
totally proliferate. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and now your immune system is getting more and more depleted, and so it becomes a negative feedback loop.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So my next question, kind of along the, well, totally along those lines, you said it a minute ago, was the scarring piece of it. What is it? What was it that was creating the scarring? How does that work?
It's an inflammation.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's the way the blood is behaving inside of you to try to repair damage. When you have a body that is not sufficiently where it needs to be nutrition-wise, when you have a body that is chronically inflamed with low-grade infection, the repair to your cells is going to be sloppy because you're in a cell danger response. And so it's just going to do the bare minimum as best as it can. And so there are multiple things revolving that, and I think science is still trying to figure this out. So I don't have necessarily like a report that I can refer to in reference to this. I can definitely talk about a study where, you know, they cut off cadavers, the heads of the scalps of cadavers, and they found that there were calcium deposits in the different hair follicles. So that's like one way that we can see progressive thinning. And so there, what's happening is the body is in a place where it has a need to keep your blood in a certain pH, and that stands for potential of hydrogen. And so there's a scale, and the scale goes from 0 to 14. So at 0 we have acid, and acid is a substance that it does not allow oxygen to coexist. So because it's I'm sorry, not oxygen, hydrogen. The potential for hydrogen.
Right.
We're talking. So acid is so acidifying that hydrogen cannot exist, which hydrogen is amazing for detoxification.
Oh yeah, it's necessary. There's so many cool hydrogen therapies that are so important. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I drink hydrogen water every day. So, you know, and in my skin, I feel like it's like a type of Botox to drink that much hydrogen water. Yeah, it's a big deal because of its antioxidant effects.
Yeah.
So acid is at 0, and then calcium is at 14 on that scale. So the scale goes from 0 to 14. At 14, you have a plethora of hydrogen that's able to exist, right? Because this is the potential for hydrogen. So when your blood is tasked with the responsibility to stay between 7.2, 7.4, which is slightly alkaline. 7 is right in the middle, right? 7 is halfway between 0 and 14. So 7 represents alkalinity. It's like that's the point of alkalinity. No, I'm sorry, that's neutral. 7 is neutral. You're right in the middle. You're not acid, you're not alkaline. So slightly alkaline is 7.2, 7.4. And so your blood has to stay in that range. Now, luckily, it's handled by the autonomic nervous system. We don't have to manage that and take our blood every day and make sure we don't die from acidosis or alkalosis. The body will do that itself by leaching calcium from your bones and from your teeth. And so what happens is it comes out into your blood. Now your blood is getting in that range. It's in the range, and now the body has to get rid of the excess calcium. So this is where we get bone spurs and we get calcium deposits.
Yep. Yeah.
And so that it can, if you're genetically prone to it, it can end up in your scalp. And so that's one of the reasons why we have progressive thinning. And so it's important to note that it's not like if you take a pH strip test every day and you make sure that you're slightly alkaline, that you're never going to have scarring. It's more so like you have to undo the damage that was done and melt those calcium deposits. And then at the same time, you have to do your best to make sure that you stay in that in that range of alkalosis in your urine and your saliva. Now, in the morning, you're always going to be acidic because you're detoxing overnight. So you want to be acidic in the morning because you want to be dumping all that stuff out as soon as you wake up. But during the day, based on your choices, how much water you drink, what you're eating, the quality of your air, how much you're sleeping, all of those things will affect whether you're more alkaline or acidic, especially the food. So if you're eating in a more alkaline versus acidic choice of foods, then you're more prone to healing, less prone to disease, less prone to your body having to create cavities or osteoporosis to try to help you stay in that range where you don't die from acidosis.
Yeah, and I think I love that, and I also think that it's important to note though, because there is such a push, or well, many years there's been this trend for, you know, pH, you know, alkaline water and alkaline foods and fruits and vegetables, and meat is acidic, so meat is bad, and all of these things. When there is a balance, we have to have both. So, you know, we want to stay away from the acidic foods that are processed foods and that are, you know, the hydrogenated oils and the toxic seed oils and things like that. Those are the things that are super damaging. Meat's not one of those things though, right? So yes, lots of vegetables, some fruit, good meat, healthy fats. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff.
And protein is necessary for hair. I mean, it's a building block of hair.
Yeah.
So, you know, you want to make sure you have enough stomach acid so you can break down the protein, the meat that you're eating. And yeah, I think in the beginning when I first started, because I didn't know what I was doing, that hence the raw food diet, I thought like, oh gosh, like I have to just stay away from meat and then I can, you know, be healthy. And no one ever talks about, I have a client right now that I'm helping, and she's just like, I've been eating this way for so many years, and she did 2 hair transplants and still does not have the hair that she wants. And she's like, I've been told I eat better than most nutritionists. Like literally goes to buy her food from farmers. She's like, no one ever told me to stay between 20 to 25 grams of sugar a day. She's eating over 50.
Because of the fruit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the fruit, feeding a fungal overgrowth potentially.
Yeah.
Right? And
well, I think that, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You go ahead. Go ahead. You think.
So I think that is so often sort of this issue that we're dealing with, that we don't know that we're dealing with, that we don't know that our symptoms are these fungal, you know, kind of, you said it earlier, but the fungal overgrowth, the bacterial overgrowth, these things that is proliferating because of, yes, the too much sugar, the antibiotics, the pesticides and the herbicides, the, you know, all of these things that impact our microbiome so significantly, creating the leaky gut, right? And then moving on to the lack of nutrients and not absorbing nutrients. And, you know, if we don't have the nutrients that we need, our body's not going to work, right? So it's going to start focusing on the things that keep us alive. Hair doesn't keep us alive. It's pretty. It looks good, it's protective, but it doesn't keep us alive. So that's kind of last thing on the list of things to manage if it's trying to focus on our brain function and our heart function and our, you know, gut function and so forth, right?
Of course, and there's so many capillaries around your hair.
Yeah.
It's almost like on the body. If you have a lot of hair, you know how much blood you have to bring to those hair follicles to keep that much hair? No wonder there are people, usually they used to have so much hair and now they're having thinning hair, and they're just like, I never thought I would be going bald. I had so much hair. It's like, well, your body was like, the ship is going down, and this hair is costing a lot of resources. And so I had to reprioritize and then just get to this point where it's like, now it's progressive thinning.
Yeah, it's so insane. So you had mentioned labs a little while ago, and so, you know, I nerd out on labs. I love labs. They make me so happy. They give us so much information. It's our body talking to us on a piece of paper, right? What are some markers that we can look at that can show potential reasons for hair loss?
Ironically, at this point, I don't use that many labs.
Oh.
I I use a lot of assessments.
Okay.
I use labs at some point in the therapy, not in the beginning, just to see did I miss anything or if I'm stuck with someone.
Okay.
And so the reason I do that is because I try to teach my clients to listen to their body and be that detective and start hypothesizing and making assessments and tracking so that they can be aware of like when do they have to go do labs and do more investigation, like at some point if they tried all these hypotheses and nothing has panned out.
Yeah.
That being said, I did do, like I said, what it was the weak zoomer and the total tops
so good.
urine test.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that on my husband. I'm actually going to do that myself as well. And we're doing that because we want to have children. Right?
Nice.
So I think during my time where I was trying to figure out what was wrong, it was helpful for me to do all the labs. I did a lot of labs. That's how I found my mold. You know, that's how I found the leaky gut, the H. pylori, the candida. And so I think that there's a place for them, but the way that I operate is like I just assume the usual suspects based on the symptoms.
Okay, yeah.
And then I'll give them the protocol and see how they do. And then if something hasn't resolved yet, then I hypothesize, and then I'll get to a point where I'm like, okay, now let's spend the money on the labs because they are valuable. They do have their place. I'm actually in the process of studying to be. I am a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner in training, and that's all about functional medicine labs. That the whole thing is all about labs. So yeah, there's definitely value in them. I just in my practice, I just try to put more emphasis on learning to listen to your body and pick up on those symptoms, and then just try to get to this version of yourself where you're not having a lot of symptoms often, and then you're learning how to use the different supplements and diet changes and daily rituals like the sauna blanket or a castor oil pack or whatever it is that is conducive to your healing based on your symptoms, to help some people get relief sooner than later. Because with the hair loss thing, like they want to feel different now. They want their hair to grow yesterday. So it's just like, all right, well let's go out of food track, let's do these assessments and see what's going on. But yeah, I have had clients ask me that, and I actually do have a part in my course that talks about labs, and so I tell them, even like a CMP and a CBC, if you know the functional ranges of that, you can look at that and confirm some of the things that we're talking about. So I had a client that had Hashimoto's, and she was working with a practitioner for that, and so she was testing for antibodies and all that stuff, and during her time with me, she didn't have Hashimoto's anymore. Like the antibodies went all the way down, but it was because we focused on leaky gut.
Right.
In order to have an autoimmune condition, you have to have leaky gut, the genetics for it, inflammation, environmental triggers, and a gut dysbiosis. And so just by working on all those things, that we were able to help her get some relief. But her CMP and her CBC showed that her stomach acid was likely low, based on, and so that was something else and so that's something. And then iron, people look at often, and the funny thing is that people think, oh well, I need to have my iron at like 80 or 90 and then my hair will grow, or I need to have my vitamin D like in a certain range and then my hair will grow. And what I realized was when I took that approach and I tried to make the labs perfect, I didn't always have the hair result from it. And so that's why I try to just reverse engineer the result. And I'm looking at, what does hair need to grow? It needs blood that's rich in nutrients and oxygen, and it needs to get to the follicle. So I'm like, all right, well, if this person has chronic inflammation, they're not having enough oxygen for their hair. Right? And if their gut doesn't have enough stomach acid, how are they gonna get the nutrients from food? So that's really the focus. But iron, ironically, people try to supplement with it, and then they end up feeding mold and the candida that's colonizing in their body, and so they're taking all the supplementation, and their numbers don't go up, and then they start feeling worse. Even iron infusions, they'll do that, and they start feeling worse because they're feeding organisms that are eating off of that. So yeah, I mean, there definitely are some labs that people could look at, but I tend to focus more on symptoms.
No, I gotcha, and I think that's smart. It's fascinating what you're saying too when it comes to supplementation, because I think so, you know, as a general rule, we're like, supplements, they're just supplements, they're healthy, they're fine, they're not a big deal. But if you don't know what you're doing, or you're taking the wrong thing, or the quality is not there, or you name it, it can cause problems, right? It can be detrimental, and we have to really, really be aware of that. And, you know, from where you're purchasing it, you know, you're talking about medical grade supplements. You know, I hear so often, I bought my supplements off Amazon. Like, I don't trust Amazon with, I mean, I'll buy my, like, I don't know, a rug. Not even a rug, unless it's wool, right? but, you know, I mean, certainly I use Amazon, but I'm not going to buy my supplements from them, my essential oils from them, any of those things that have the potential of being not what it says, which is, it happens all the time. So that awareness, I think, is super important, and having somebody to help you say, you might need iron, but this might not quite be the time. We need to deal with some other things before we start to supplement with iron, to make sure that you're in a place where you can handle what we're giving you.
Right. Yeah, timing is critical.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're swimming in the ocean and you get paralyzed suddenly, and then you're rescued and you're brought to shore, they're not going to start fixing your broken leg before they do CPR.
Right.
So
exactly.
The order is very important when you're working on healing functionally, and understanding how are these different body systems supposed to work together to heal me, and then where does it often go wrong, and then what can I do daily, weekly, to support my body so that those systems work the way that they were supposed to. So we look at it that way, like the digestive system, the endocrine system, the nervous system. We're addressing all of these different systems. Like, maybe we're giving the endocrine system more of the raw material that it needs to create the hormones that it needs. So instead of just giving it, oh, you need, you know, more of this hormone or that hormone, we're like, well, let's make sure that this body can create more DHEA, more progesterone, which are the building blocks for it, so that it can decide. I do feel like there is a place where people may want to, if they can't make their own hormones, and maybe they're very, you know, advanced in an age, and when we've tried doing the natural way, and people want to do bioidentical, fine, but for me, it's a last resort. I would rather just try to support the body's ability to make its own hormone at any age, by letting it select what it wants to make. And so that's the endocrine. And then with the digestive, we spent a lot of time on that, right? The blue grade digestion, whatnot. And with the nervous system, for example, you want to have your body in a parasympathetic state. You want to be in a state where you can eat the food and digest it. And your parasympathetic state is what helps you create more stomach acid, because digestion starts in the brain. And people don't even know that. There is a gut-brain connection. And so when you walk into the mall and you smell Auntie Anne's pretzels and you're hungry all of a sudden, that was on purpose. That was by design. You know, they know that smelling that is going to activate more stomach acid secretion, and it's going to make you more likely to go and buy. And so that they're just tapping into the cephalic stage of digestion to try to get you to buy. And so what happens with allopathic medicine at times is that they separate all of these systems so much, you know, that nothing is talking to each other. And so that whole component of addressing the nervous system so that digestion can work better is missed, for example. And so this is why we end up getting in that endless merry-go-round where we go from one doctor to the next to the next, and they're all pointing fingers at each other. Like, that's his job.
So I want to say a couple of things I want to say real quick. But for one, before we got on the show, we were talking about how we met. So Miss Sabrina Victoria just popped on, and she was like, Nikki and Saril, two powerhouses. Hey, Sabrina. I promise I'm coming back at some point. Anyway, so wanted to, so you can say hi to Sabrina. But also we have a new sponsor, and so my brain is not yet rewired to talking about this new sponsor. So I'm going to do this real quick because I know we're jumping up on the edge of our time, and I know that you have other things that you're doing. So give me 1 second here, because Our sponsor is Mountain Medical Concepts, the amazing Miss Susan Drake, who is awesome at what she does. But she has a company that she represents that is called New BioAge. And so they do peptides. And we wanted to talk specifically, it's not even the right, sorry. Anyway, I had a different graphic up to talk about one of the peptides that she has, but it's called GHK Copper. And so I put it up here because it is so specific to hair growth and in the way that it works. And it's anti-inflammatory, and I believe, I'm trying to remember all the things, but I think it supports mitochondria, all kinds of cool stuff that it works really well in helping to support hair growth and all of the things that we need for that. And it's non-toxic. We've got peptides that are so supportive to our bodies and are becoming the new sort of regenerative therapeutic that gives us so much. We've got peptides. Our peptides are naturally made in the body, and I'm learning more and more about them. I'm using them in practice, and it's been a lot of fun to have those and have Susan as part of our team up here and doing some great things. So these are only peptides that are available to practitioners. But if you're not a practitioner, just go ask your practitioner for New BioAge peptides. And for hair growth, you want to see Saril, and you might want to think about GHK Copper because that's a pretty cool additional benefit as well. So I wanted to make sure I hit on that.
I want her number then. Because everything that has to do with hair, I'm always trying to get my client better, faster results. So I actually was just talking to Dr. Grace Lou. I don't know if you know her, but she has millions of subscribers on YouTube. She was in my summit. I had a hair loss summit that she was in.
Nice.
So we were talking about peptides, and she's just like, I just want to do a whole new business where I'm allocating different peptides for different diseases, because with peptides you could just have complete healing.
It's amazing.
From a peptide. She was just ranting and raving about how incredible peptides are, and I was like, I'm gonna have to, jump on that and hear more about that, because I know there have been a lot of studies lately and a lot of miracle stories about that. So I'm always willing to be up on the trend.
Well, so anytime the FDA is trying to shut you down, you know that you're doing something good.
Oh yeah, you're on the right track. Okay.
That's right. So anyway, there is something that I want to talk about, but I want to check in with you on time since we were running late. We're now at 11:04 our time, and I want to make sure that you have enough time to, talk about anything else that maybe we've missed, or where you can be found, but also give you enough time because it was my fault we were having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, no worries. I do have some minutes, but I do have some time, and so no rush. But your question was there anything that I feel like I left out?
Mm-hmm.
As far as hair loss and thinning is concerned, I think it's really important for people to know that they've been lying to you.
There you go.
It's not just genetics. I know people, and I wanted to bring this up before. I think people are thinking, oh no, my mom has it, my dad has it, it's just hereditary, and it's been ingrained in their DNA and their psyche that there's no escaping it. And so I want you guys to think about another time in your life where you really wanted something difficult to achieve, and you didn't even know how it was going to happen, but somehow, some way, you made it happen. And so if you can take that same level of intensity and apply it to your hair, you can absolutely get to that level. And that's exactly what happened to me when I got to that sinking point of looking the way that I did after the breakup. And I had been telling myself, I've tried everything. And there's so many people that are listening to this that feel the same way. They think they've tried everything. And when I realized that was actually a lie, there's no way that I could have tried everything. There's no way I could have tried everything in every single combination at every single time. And I mean, what about the things that weren't even invented yet?
Yep.
Clearly, I tried those. And so when I came to terms with that was impossible, and I was going to reverse my hair loss or die trying, that was what got me to the next level, because I was always taking pictures, not to feel ashamed, but to look for signs of, is something working? And if it was working, why was it working? And how did it help? And then how can I replicate it for someone else? And I remember there was one morning where I was in my bed, and I didn't know at this point that my room was killing me. But I was like in my bed, and I woke up and my hair was thinner, and I could tell because, and if your clients want to do this, or whoever's listening wants to do this, they can. I could tell that my hair got thinner overnight because I took my hands and I put them maybe a couple inches above my ears, and then I tried to move my scalp. And so as I do right now, my scalp is very flexible and pliable. And when I did it that day, it was like I could barely move it. It was amazing. It felt like I don't even know what, cement. And I remember looking up into the heavens in my bed, and I was like, God, please help me. Why is this happening? Like, I know that there's a way to make it flexible again. It has to be. Like, well, tell me what it is. And in that moment, I started, looking for the solution, and I had typed in something that I had typed in 50,000 times about, like, detoxing and just how the blood is supposed to behave and all these other things, and something new came up. And then I came up with a new theory. And boom, it was like the missing link. Everything just like fell into place, and I was like, wow, Jesus saves the day. Like, you really heard me. I cried out to the heavens with tears in my eyes. He was like, I got you. And he just like sent the answer. So beautiful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was so cool. And so I was just like, okay, well, so if it is a lie that genetics, is like the thing, and I have this freaking gene. Like, I had an expert in my summit, and he was saying there is no hair loss gene. There are multiple different genes, like maybe a gene to have high blood pressure, which would make circulation poor, or there's different types of genes that can make you more susceptible to hair loss, but there's no hair loss gene, right? And so he was saying that people will come to him and they say, oh, I have MTHFR dooms, and he's just like that, right?
Agreed.
That doesn't mean that there's a nail in the coffin and you're done. And so
no, that's one variant of millions, right? I mean, it's just the one that got the most attention early on. So yes, yeah.
And so we have this tendency with hair loss and thinning to victimize ourselves because they want us to be like hopeless victims, so then someone can come and save us, and that person wouldn't have to pay them for it. So it's by design, right? It's like, oh, you're just this helpless person, but the medication's going to come and save you, don't worry. And so when you move out of victimhood to being a victor, what that looks like is finding where you're at fault.
Yeah.
So, like, if there was something that you could do to fix it, what would that be? And so that's where you start taking accountability for the lifestyle choices and all the things we talked about before. And so although my dad is bald and my mom has thinning hair because they're horrible clients and they don't want to listen to me.
You're the daughter. You're the young one. Of course they don't want to listen to you. I feel your pain.
Maybe 4 or 5. So so even though that is the case, and if I didn't take care of myself, if I ate however I wanted, if I lived in a moldy home, if I never dusted my house, if I didn't have air conditioners in the house, if I lived with a rug, if I ate all the sugar I wanted, if I didn't sleep well, if I didn't drink, like if I did all these things, right? If I didn't take supplements when I see that I'm starting to have fungal overgrowth, if I didn't try to increase my stomach acid when I see that I'm kind of burping too much or something, right? So if I don't know how to take care of my health and try to keep homeostasis, yeah, I can be susceptible to hair loss or thinning. But guess what? Because we can repair the damage and get some of those hair follicles that are still in there, just buried with cement, to grow again. All we gotta do is like crack open the cement and get the body to flush it out. So if we're able to repair the damage and we know how to stop the damage from reoccurring, then you have been set free from the sentence.
I love it. Yeah.
You don't have to die wearing a wig unless you want to.
Yeah. Well, so going back at it, because when I told you a little while ago that there was another question that I had for you, but didn't know if we had time, it was the genetics and the epigenetic component of it. That, and again, we're just, right there online with each other. And I love that because one of my favorite sort of aha moments in life was the moment that I realized that epigenetics is God's gift of free will, right? We have
the free will to make choices and decisions that are going to help or that are going to hurt. And nobody's perfect. We are human, and God created us that way, but he gave us the free will to make the choices. And that's what we do every single day, is we make choices, which is also part of the reason why my word of the year is listen. Because I'm like, just tell me what to do. Help me to hear you, But we can, just like you said, you make the choice whether you figure out the answers or you die trying, or you just give up and blame it on, whatever you want to blame it on, and not take accountability, right? So it's the most beautiful, fascinating thing I think there is in the entire world is the epigenome, right? Epigenetics.
Yeah, there were studies that were done by insurance companies on twins. And they're like, okay, we have identical twins.
Mm-hmm.
How come one gets high blood pressure and the other one doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
And so they realized that it was environment. It was
Yeah.
the environmental triggers between the food and the toxins and all those things. That's what turns on the gene. And so the way that I describe that to my clients is with the allostatic load. So the allostatic load is this invisible line. This is how I describe it. It's this invisible line that represents the threshold of toxicants that your body can withstand before you start turning on genetics, before you start turning on a bunch of symptoms, before your body starts uniquely responding to all of those insults to try to compensate for the fact that you're not doing enough choice-wise to try to protect it. So now it has to take its God-given superpowers to try to help you stay alive.
That's its ultimate goal, is to keep us alive. That's it.
Right. Keep us alive longer. And so in order to dial down the expression of any kind of genetic expression, it's all about detoxing. It's all about healing leaky gut and gut dysbiosis. And it's about maintaining that threshold of toxicants below the allostatic load, so that you're not suffering a whole bunch of symptoms. And so the symptoms can come in, the toxins and toxicants can come in, but they come out before you get over that threshold. So that's where you live when you're in high school, and you can binge drink over on the weekend and go to work on Monday like it never even happened. You party all night long and still drive home, and all these different things that you can do when you're young and stupid. And it doesn't affect you. You're eating all the Snickers bars and ice cream, a whole pint to the face, and you're fine. It doesn't even faze you.
Yeah.
Because you're young, you're brand new. You don't have a lot of miles on the engine. Right? You can take that. It's not gonna cause you to have this or that. But now we're starting to see people develop chronic illnesses that you're supposed to get later in life at a younger age, because they're being born with so many toxins from the beginning, and they're being exposed to a lot more, spending less time outdoors, than just the food quality and everything.
Well, that and mom and grandma have turned on their negative epigenome, right? And it's passing on. That's the fascinating thing. And my ultimate goal in getting out to whoever will listen to me is that what I do today, if I were to have kids, right? But if you're having kids, it impacts 7 generations ahead. And who I am today is impacted by 7 generations behind me. Right, so there's a lot there to unpack, but to make decisions based on how I'm going to impact my great grandkids, or even just my kids, right? It's not small. It's kind of a big deal. Yeah.
We think about it that way, but most people aren't trained to think about it that way.
I know. That's why I beat my drum all the time.
Trained to think it's insignificant. Oh, it's just genetic. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
I get livid when I ask doctors that I know mean well, but I ask them, like, if the diet is implicated, if there are any dietary suggestions. No, diet has nothing to do with it. When my dad was in the hospital because he has chronic kidney disease, and he almost passed away shortly after we got married, my husband and I. And I thought I quote unquote killed my dad because he got sick from our wedding. He got pneumonia. Like 15 of us got sick.
Oh no.
Okay, and he was the one that ended up with pneumonia, and so he was in the hospital, and I'm freaking out. Okay, and my hair actually took a hit because I was not sleeping sleeping well. I was so stressed out. And I had just put myself on this very strict diet to fit into my dress. Because I couldn't lose weight as quickly as I wanted to because my house was killing me and I didn't know. Like, it was like all
Funny
this
how
stuff,
that works, right?
And then I ended up figuring out during that time, and it was started making the changes and whatnot. But I was like deprived from this food, so now I'm like eating crap while my dad is in the hospital. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm stressed out. You know, and then I was sleeping in his house, and he has a rug that's 20 years old.
Oh.
That they barely shampooed, and so while I was sleeping there with my husband, like my hair was just getting worse and worse, and I fixed it in 3 weeks. I have pictures to prove it.
Oh, amazing!
Like it never even happened, right? But you know, during that time when my dad was in the hospital, I was arguing with the people in the hospital because he has diabetes. We know that the diabetes and the high blood pressure killed his kidneys. Like they exacerbated chronic kidney disease. They're giving him peaches and rice, and forcing him not to eat for a very long time because they wanted to forcibly do a discovery surgery to see if there was, well, they wanted to put iodine to do a CAT scan to see if he needed to do open heart surgery because they thought maybe there were blockages in his heart. And I was like, you cannot put iodine on him with his kidneys in this condition. Like it can push him into dialysis. 3 times they tried to do it. If I wasn't there,
Unreal.
they would have done it. I was like sleeping there just to protect him. Like it was crazy.
Unreal.
I know what you're doing, and like you're not gonna do it on my watch. You know,
Yeah.
I ended up screaming. By the time I was done, they put us in a brand new room. We all could sleep there. You know, like they left us alone. Like they were like, you pick a diet. Like you tell us what you want. Like,
Perfect.
you know, I'm throwing all these facts at them. I'm like, don't make me pull out a study. Like I will, you know, I'm telling you right now, like what you're doing is not okay.
Yeah.
And you're making my dad, you know, I get that you're trying to help him, but these little choices really do matter,
Big
especially
deal.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like I think there's a little bit of a lack of awareness sometimes.
A lot of that. Yeah, it's so true. Well, I think we should probably wrap up, but this has been fascinating and so much fun, and I love chatting with you. Tell people how to find you.
So yeah, I have my website, belcanics.com. So that's BELLECHANICS. So there's a blog there, information that I'm sure you'll find fascinating. So definitely go check that out. My About page has a bunch of different podcasts that I've been on. Of course, we'll put this one on there as well. So people can learn more about this one and the acid alkaline balance and how important that is. And my Facebook group is an amazing resource because I go in there live pretty regularly to teach, to answer questions.
Okay.
So I'll take questions from the community and I'll come on and I'll just answer them to give you guys some context and some clarity around the confusion you may be having with your case and what's going on with you and why this is happening or why that's happening. So I think those are key. And if anyone wants to get the replay of my summit, they can go to womenshairlossresolutions.com. Womenshairlossresolutions.com. There were 30 plus experts there that we all just geeked out about hair loss.
Yeah, how cool.
So I'm sure they would be very interested in seeing what we all had to say. We talked about everything. We talked about iron. We talked about the C word. We talked about co-infections, hormones, genetics. We talked about all the things, autoimmune, that people are interested in when it comes to hair loss and thing. And I'll be doing another one soon. So
awesome.
maybe I can have you on.
Oh, I would love that. I would love it. That would be so much fun. Very good. Thank you again so much. Such a great conversation. Appreciate you. God bless you. And all that you're doing. It's such a big deal. It really is. And I mean, I know you know that. So, so much fun. Thank you.
Yeah, I forgot to say the name of the Facebook group.
No, say it.
It's called Reversing Hair Loss Naturally.
Perfect. Reversing Hair Loss Naturally on Facebook. Join our group. Great group. Obviously super knowledgeable on the topic and all of the things that go into that, which is kind of functional medicine, right? It's not just the blinders, and this is all we're working on. It's everything is involved, everything is connected. So such an important aspect of what we do in root cause medicine, root cause nutrition, all of the things. So of course, you can find me, tastelifenutrition.com. You can find us here every Thursday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, streaming live on kuhsdenver.com. You can find this on all of your favorite podcast sites once we upload it, probably next week. So yeah, reach out to Saril, ask her any questions. I'm always here to answer any questions as well. You can fill out a free assessment on the website, and I'll reach out to you, and we can chat a little bit and see what we can do. So I hope you all had a wonderful 4th of July, and moving in, I can't believe it's midsummer already, but moving into still some good time, good summer fun. So go get out in the sun and enjoy it. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.